Sipping on my cup, got my photo. Sipping on my cup, got my photo. You know she love the camera. Snapping the picture the way she be moving, I love the camera.
So everyone, we are today at the Unifarm Web3 meetup. So I'm here now with Ms. Tarusha of Unifarm. So Tarusha, really great meetup. Like all the arrangements were very good. So my first question to you will be what are the problems that you face entering into the Web3 space? First of all as a woman, and then as as a technical person. What were the problems that you faced?
Sure. So the meetup was organized by the entire team, and I really did not do anything. So more kudos to them. There, I won't take credit at all. Okay, getting into Web3 was very organic for me. So it just came out of natural curiosity. I was running a data center startup, and my co-founder and I we were looking at cyberpunk forums, etc., and we came across that Ethereum was doing well, and we wanted to basically mine Ethereum using those data center servers, machines that we had, and that is how we kind of got into the crypto space. It wasn't called Web3 then, but that was like my first beginning. Post that, we co-founded one of the first Ethereum exchanges of India. But in 2017, obviously with the RBI order that came in, we had to shut that down. Those were only two options: were basically either move abroad or shut it down. So we decided to shut it down. But ultimately, we are now again working in the Web3 space with Unifarm. In terms of obstacles, I think there are not many obstacles. Like, I'm a self-taught techie. I'm a literature student. I'm not. I did not really study tech in an organized fashion, but because I've been a tech entrepreneur for now nearly 12 years, so it's been a journey. But as long as you are open to learning, failing, growing, I think anybody can do this. As for being a female in this space, the gender ratio is skewed in tech as it is in deep tech more so. It's bad, but then I think the women who are there, they should go out of their way to make sure to make representation even bigger, so that more women can feel encouraged and join the bandwagon. And I think I'm the best example because I didn't really study tech either. So if you're coming from any background, you can get into it.
Right. So everyone I have talked to till now, so they have the two major points were community and their curiosity to learn. Right. So what was that eureka moment that further push that curiosity to go into this Web3 space?
Okay, so community has always been big. Even for Web 2, that what we are called community here, those are users in Web 2. That you need a strong user base for Facebook to work. Right? Facebook is not going to work if all of a sudden people start leaving it, and they are already. But the idea is that what we call community here, those are users in Web 2. So community is always important, because ultimately if you're running a business and nobody's using it, then it's useless. And when it comes to curiosity, I think because the space is so new, so dynamic, you have to keep learning. That I think again goes with tech as well, but in Web3 it's more so because this is like an industry that never sleeps. So 24/7 somebody somewhere is innovating, and you get to learn about it. So that is very exciting. That is what gets me out of bed every morning. That you get to learn something new. You get challenged in some way. Otherwise it gets boring.
Like you talked about in the Web2 space, the community is the users.
Mm-hmm.
So in the Web2 space, so Facebook has this kind of network effect. So they entered the market, they have a large user base.
Mm-hmm.
So they can take advantage of their network effect. So do we have these kinds of network effect in the Web3 space also?
We wish to have that because otherwise mass adoption will never happen. So that is why in Web3 you will see that there is a lot of ambassadors and evangelists and people who are actually just in charge to make sure that the other people who are probably right now using Web2 applications can migrate to Web3 applications, because Web3 applications don't have the best UI yet. They are very new, so it's a little hard to do the onboarding unless somebody already knows or is aware. So that becomes a challenge. But yes, we do want a network effect. I think that is what ultimately will create successful Web3 business.
Right. So now coming to Unifarm.
Mm-hmm.
So what problem are you trying to solve at Unifarm, and what do you do at Unifarm?
Okay, so I'm the CEO and co-founder at Unifarm. So basically operations and running behind people, getting things done primarily. And vis-a-vis Unifarm, well, the problem that we are trying to address is that of financial freedom and financial independence. So we do believe that the traditional financial system is broken in many ways, and with Web3 and with decentralization, a lot of these problems can be solved. So you should be able to decide what you want to do with your money, and your money should be able to work for you rather than just lie in a bank account or elsewhere. So that is essentially what we are solving for the users. But for the projects themselves, we are becoming a Web3 enabler, sort of an ecosystem where with end-to-end services that a Web3 startup might require, you'll find both of them in Unifarm. So we are a B2B, B2C platform.
Right. So like you talked about like you incorporate certain projects also.
Mm-hmm.
So like how do you filter projects and what is like the process for onboarding of projects?
So we do have a due diligence process. We basically try to only bring in projects that have been that have a solid team, that have a solid track record. They have good stakeholders or promoters plus investors backing them, and the smart contracts have been audited so that the user does not face a brunt of a hack. All of these are small things and small checklists that we put in place. They should have a vibrant community. Their social should be solid. So these are some things that we keep in mind when we try to onboard any project.
Right. So like you talked about due diligence. So like, would you say that doing your own research, whether you are a retail investor or a VC, like it is the most important aspect of choosing which products you contribute to or you invest in? Like,
absolutely. I think doing your own research is a very, very important part of being in the Web3 space. So if you're going to be putting your money in any of the protocols, any platform, you should do your own research and shouldn't just go by what the market is telling you or what some influencer is telling you, because as an individual only you can decide what your risk appetite is.
Right. Like so like you are the perfect person to ask this question to. So like you come from a non-tech background, right? So like what I feel that the Web3 space is not that much beginner friendly. And so like first question would be like what were the beginner issues that you faced while learning concepts in Web3, and like what are your ideas to push mass adoption of web apps or Web3 products among the masses?
Sure. So I'll take it in parts. The first part is basically how do you if somebody is hearing it from the outside, how do you sort of get into Web3, because it can be a little overwhelming. So first of all, I understand that it can be overwhelming because there's a lot of information that is available online in various places. But I would advise if you choose like 5 sources, 5 people, 5 perhaps 5 books, or that you can look at, or 5 courses, just 5 sources, and then try to understand the very basic concepts. But don't spend too much time in the theory. I would strongly recommend that you get your hands dirty, create your MetaMask wallet, perhaps indulge with a few protocols, buy your first, one of your OG tokens, whichever you like, and then that would be your way of getting into Web3. That is like the best way to do it. In terms of what were the kind of obstacles I had, I think it was pretty similar. But there's I don't think there were obstacles so much. There was not that much information now about Web3. There was because it was very early. So there was the obstacle. I think is only limitations that you create in your own head. That you might not be able to do this, or you might not be able to do that. Because those are just notions. If you're thinking that again and again, that okay, I thought okay, I'm a literature student, I really can't co-found tech companies. I have only worked and co-founded tech companies all of these years. So I wouldn't have done that. And I think limitations are that is like the biggest obstacle in getting into Web3 as well.
Right. So like do you do you have any program for like projects that want to collaborate with you? Like, is there any some sort of thing like that?
Absolutely. So you can go on the website and you can apply. So there's an entire form. You can actually fill in your details, and a team will get in touch with you if you're a project that wishes to be a part of the Unifarm ecosystem. If you're a user that is having any issues, then we have a very, very vibrant community, and you can get in touch with any of our team members online, and we'll help you out there. You actually asked me about mass adoption and how I feel that that's going to happen. I think mass adoption will again the analogy that I would give is of the capital. Capital just goes where it gets good returns. So I think mass adoption will happen when a big pain point is getting resolved for users, and I think an inflection point will come when Web3 products would be used and people wouldn't even know it's a Web3 product because it's just like not everybody understands how electricity works, but everybody utilizes it. So you don't really need to get into the back end. It's just that as long as a real problem is getting resolved, people will come.
So like, would you solve a problem for a solve a problem for a niche amount of customers, or would you solve a problem for a large number of people?
Depends on the kind of problem or the platform that you're building. So I think I think niche is always better because you can always create perhaps more features and then perhaps focus on other niches. Like once you feel you're sorted with one, rather than going for a full blown this is for everybody sort of product, because that requires high volumes for it to work, and you will need a war chest to deploy it to just get it out to the masses.
So like how do you launch new features at Unifarm? Like, do you ask the community consensus?
We do. So we do ask the community. We don't have a consensus mechanism yet, but we do ask the community, and we do have like a feedback mechanism in place that the community can actually put in features and they can suggest features to us, and the features that are taken up, those users are rewarded as well.
Yeah. So like, can you explain consensus mechanism for the viewers?
So we basically allow the other users to vote on it, and that is one way that we kind of pick and choose. And obviously internally we discuss what is possible with the current bandwidth that we have and the roadmap that we have, and then the decision is taken as to whether that feature gets picked up in this particular sprint or not.
So like, what great feature are you working on right now at Unifarm, and like what lies down the road?
Sure. So we recently launched liquidity token farming. So that is for LP tokens. But the next big feature that will be coming up would be a bridge. It's a multi-chain bridge, which is called Setu. So that is the next feature that will be launched in Unifarm.
Like, which chains are you supporting?
So initially we'll be supporting 5 to 7 chains, including Ethereum, Binance, Matic, Avalanche, Phantom, and Hego perhaps.
BSC?
Yeah, yes.
Nice. Sure. So like it was great talking to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Shubham. It was lovely talking to you.
This was like Shubham with Tarusha of Unifarm, and I will paste all the links in the description. Make sure to check them out.